Yeah,
Welcome again to the Game of Yeah podcast with my
Yeah.
pals. We have
Yeah.
Eric of first of his name, Breaker of Farts, the Unchunked,
The D-Chong.
the Dechonge, and then we have Ashley Coleman, second of his name,
The killer of bits.
the killer of bits. And now you have your warden of the south of my pants, Tyler Aiden.
Warden of the girth.
The warden of the girth. Yes.
Tyler, before we get into this, I have, I think there's an important announcement that probably should be made regarding the health and safety of everybody. If you or a loved one was in King's Landing, you may be entitled for compensation as there's been proven links to receiving mesothelioma. Call the law offices of Bum Skag Jones and Scumbag Johnson at 1-800-SCAG-BUM.
Or 1-800-SCAG-BUM. Yeah.
That's all. That's the
Dude,
the health announcement.
think about how much like asbestos is probably just all over King's Landing right now. Asbestos, yeah.
Yeah,
Asbestos.
dude, Arya looked like when I saw her, all I could think about was the amount of makeup just caked onto her face.
Oh yeah, dude. She looked like
Arya definitely needed an mesothelioma, or will need a mesothelioma lawyer.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, do you guys just want to jump into it?
Yeah. So I have a couple topics to choose from. Mine are sort of in order of the episode.
Yeah, dude, just you can drive this train.
Alright. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was how sort of disappointed and wrong I was. When Jaime said goodbye to Brienne, I really hoped that he was going back to kill Cersei. But when they were finally reunited, I was so upset. I wanted him to have changed, but it's like a pipe dream, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting how they paralleled that kind of character arc in the first episode of the first season. You know, when Jaime pushed Bran out the window, it kind of foreshadowed D&D pushing Jaime's character arc out the window.
See, I don't even think his character arc was destroyed though.
Yeah, no, I think it made sense. Like I liked it. I was sad because I wanted him to, kill Cersei and
Yeah, but that's why I liked his character, was because he did such a good job, and his character was so good at making you unsure of what they really felt. And so I was never fully convinced he was good or bad, you know?
Yeah.
I was he's in a redemption period. I was like, oh no, never mind. Now he's not.
yeah, he always put his family first. And he said that the first episode or the second episode of the season when he was like, "Man, I would do it all again."
Yeah, I think it's funny though how Bronn went to kill him, and then he was like, nah, and went back to King's Landing and ended up dying anyways.
Yeah, I don't understand what Bronn's purpose is now, because I guess he can still kill.
Yeah, it's killed Tyrion, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
But
he has
no
no
one-
reason to, because Cersei died.
Yeah. Basically, if he kills Tyrion, he loses everything. If he doesn't, he might not lose everything.
Yeah, he can still get a castle from Tyrion, but also
Tyrion
Probably
probably, yeah, Tyrion probably can't be giving out castles.
yeah, he can just
I
be
wanna take-
handing out castles.
I want to take just a half a step back for two things. One, Jaime definitely didn't have a character arc. It was a character circle. He started right where he finished right where he started,
Yeah.
and then
But do
honestly,
you think that's valid to be upset by?
no, I mean no, I think it sucks, and I wanted Jaime to be different, but I feel like there was like a character development there, and then it really wasn't.
You know
and
who
then,
also
like,
had a character circle? The Punisher. Like, there's a lot of superheroes who had that too.
Yeah.
Where like they'd do terrible shit, and then they'd come around and like you'd see the nice side of them, and you'd see like they might be changing a little bit for like the better, or maybe more normal, and then they go right back to it for whatever reason.
yeah.
It's like it's not a bad thing, and I think it's actually it's interesting in my opinion because it makes them feel a lot more dynamic because you are never quite sure what's going to happen.
Yeah. I felt like, you know, I don't know if any of you guys have watched Breaking Bad, but Walter White, he had some
Breaking Bad
character
spoilers.
loops. Like, he didn't have an arc, a circle. It was loops everywhere.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I think that's
a good example.
I think
Yeah.
that's what made that show so great. But, yeah.
I think there's value in like if because it's only like one character that's done that, and it's not just like, oh yeah, every character is a character circle. I think it's a valuable thing to explore for some characters. It's just it leaves me as a viewer a little unsatisfied. It's not necessarily bad writing. It's not a bad like character progression. It just at the deep of my core, I'm like, damn it, I really wanted Jamie to be different.
It really is unsatisfying because you are always rooting for people to become better, and when you see them take a step back, it's really demoralizing, and that can be used very well. And I think it was. I think it caused Jamie's character to be a tragic character, which you weren't sure that was going to happen.
So,
Before we move too far on,
you had another thing, Ashley?
Yeah, I had a second thing about that, more related to how Jamie died. At first, I was like, wow, dang, the Valanqual prophecy is also kind of fucked. But actually...
it was just gravity all the time, all this time.
Well, no, so someone watching right now pointed this out, saying that the prophecy specifically says that Jamie's gonna die, or Cersei will die with the hands of her younger brother around her neck. And that's what happened. Like,
how many? Okay, you know what? No, how many fucking different wordings of a prophecy can you guys tell me in one series of a podcast? I swear to God, every time we talk about one prophecy, I hear one wording, and then the next time we talk about it, when that wording doesn't really work, you're like, actually, there's another wording that was like
there's
better.
this translation.
I'm like, you know, whatever. Like when it's like, you know, the fucking guy who deliver you from the long night. It's like, actually, it could be a guy or a girl, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
whatever, man. At this point, like, it's okay that like that happens. It's just I stop caring about prophecies when that happens.
Yeah. It's
Side note, I just got a correction text saying not around neck, or not around her neck, but around her throat. Anyways.
Well, I mean, beyond his death, like I think it was interesting how they died. Like, I wasn't upset by it. I desperately wanted Arya to do it, just because like I want to see her kill Cersei and like feel that revenge.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, instead of that, I got a really heartwarming scene with Sandor and Arya, which I don't know which one was better. Like, I didn't get the other one, but I liked that scene a lot, so I'm not like dissatisfied with it.
Same. I honestly got pretty baited because you know how like Jamie came in like the same entrance Arya came out. I thought maybe that they met and that, you know, Arya was gonna kill Cersei right there in that room and just pull off the face, and like maybe she found Jamie dead already. Like, that made sense to me. He got stabbed with like probably like an 8-inch knife in the side twice. So like I thought like she would find him dead, steal his face. But
I don't know.
But I also really liked how they had Arya kind of drive the view of King's Landing through the
POV,
I thought that was really cool. I think I would prefer that to, you know, her killing Cersei and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's a really good point. I agree.
Really briefly, so Atob messaged or commented that like he thinks the show purposefully doesn't give prophecies because it gives more freedom, and I definitely agree with that, and I just wanted to get that in there.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, every time you have something to say, you don't have to say real quickly because we're not in a meeting.
Yeah.
Hold up, maybe you're right.
Yeah.
I hate interrupting you guys. You two will just like straight up flat in cut out, and I'm not
just
about that.
Interrupt us, dude. Anyways, so my next topic. I'm kind of done with Jamie.
Yeah.
My next topic was not about plot or anything, but did you guys notice how like the Battle for Winterfell? It was a super long episode, number one, and it had like 15 minutes of build up.
Mm-hmm.
This episode had none. Like it didn't have any of the like battle preparation build up, anything. It was basically just like you sat there for about a minute, and then all of a sudden Euron's fucking fleet gets demolished.
Yeah, Dany destroys the Iron Fleet, and then destroys everything else, and then King's Landing, like the Lannister army surrenders in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then
the rest of it's just like chaos.
The Golden Company is gone in literally 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Is there not a limit to how much fire a dragon can breathe?
Yeah, it kind of goes against like the second law of thermodynamics, but
well, that I'm not meaning from like a bit killing perspective, but like I'm meaning it from like a lore, or not a lore, but like a traditional legends, not like beyond this book, but in legend, a lot of times dragons had a limit. So I was wondering if that was built into like Martin's fantasy world.
Yeah, I don't think so. There's nothing that, specifically that I've read that gives a limit. But I thought, how they portrayed the dragon fire was so cool. Like, it wasn't just hot. It, like, had force behind it.
Dude.
Yeah.
The physics of that fire were off the charts.
Yeah, it had some gravity on it. Like, it had some F equals MA shit. Like, that was so cool. Just, like, how it would just explode buildings before it even catch on fire. Man.
Yeah. Basically, the dragon breath was actually just the jet engine of a 780 or a 777 strapped onto the dragon's face.
Yeah, it's kind of like my farts v my pants, just tears holes before.
Up a good question that I thought about when we were watching. He asked, "Where'd all those Dothraki come from?" And the short answer is I don't really know, but the longer answer is I think some of them probably survived the Battle of Winterfell.
Yeah.
According to canon, or like according to like episode 5 or 4 or whatever, they basically said like Dany was like, I lost half the Unsullied and half the Dothraki in your war for the North.
That's right. When they were battle planning, they said how much they had lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
think
it was just a little jarring because you saw the wave of them and you kind of thought that was all of them.
You saw them all despair. But also, like, during the Battle of Winterfell, you saw, Jorah was in the front line initially, and then you saw him, like, loop around and come back. So it's not impossible to say that other Dothraki didn't loop around and come back.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's
I like the idea that
nitpicky.
half the Dothraki were just tired and kind of taking a nap in, like, the crypts or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's sleepy time.
No, but I was just sort of blown away, like, how quickly it started.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that they did it that way compared to, or to contrast the Battle of Winterfell. Like, it would have felt weird if there's a big build-up. It would have been wasteful, basically. There's a huge build-up. And
I thought, what'd you guys think about Cersei's reaction to the whole thing? Like, her watching it and then realizing, or thinking, having so much confidence that she still is going to win, and then slowly realizing that she's super fucked.
I think personally, I felt the same feeling I felt when I watched Dany slowly, like, become angrier and angrier until she just destroyed everything.
Yeah. I
think both of them did an incredible job of making me place my own, like, what I think they would be thinking without really telling me what to think.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
when I was watching Cersei, I was thinking like, oh, she was like, maybe she was like being confident because, you know, like she had to convince Qyburn not to like do something drastic and leave her unsafe or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or also, she's also been pretty like disillusioned with the state of her city and also just Westeros in general. And I think like her scenes definitely portrayed that disillusionment, where she has always thought she would win pretty easily, but she never fully comprehended like what even one dragon can do, much less a supporting army.
Yeah. That I think it was just so powerful, like how, both those characters barely said any words, but man, you knew exactly what they were thinking and like their thought process and their descent into, I guess, the resolution of the episode. So I think
something that I literally just now thought about. You know how like the reason that Jaime killed the Mad King was literally the Mad King was going to be, he was like yelling, burn them all, burn them all. And we've kind of come full circle with Dany literally burning them all.
Yeah. It was basically a foreshadowing for Dany descending into madness.
See, I'm of the opposite, or not opposite, I'm of the sort of opposing opinion where I don't think Dany went mad. I think Dany, I think like that theory is kind of interesting, but I think like it makes more sense if you put yourself in her shoes, where she'd grown up for years now thinking that she was sort of a chosen leader with her dragons, the Dothraki. She put all this work into consolidating power with the Dothraki, then freeing the Unsullied, generating a huge army, and basically living her own narration of what she thinks would happen. And then she gets there, she finds everyone there is skeptical and doesn't accept her. She finds Sansa as an immediate and very powerful enemy that's smart enough to severely undermine her. And then she finds Jon, who is sort of like the romantic rock of her psyche.
Yeah.
That is peeling away because of what he learned. I don't think it's madness to like think about all that stuff and think about how many times Tyrion has been wrong with what he's said, and how can you trust the Bell thing. Think about like how King's Landing was your home before it was stolen from you with all these people, how Cersei killed your fam or whatever, how Cersei has treated everyone. Like, I don't think it's madness. I think it's actually pretty rational to feel that way.
Yeah.
And it's appropriate to feel that way. It's maybe not rational to kill everybody.
Yeah, I mean, like, definitely, I don't think it's a symptom of, like, schizophrenia or stuff like that, but just, like, kind of like a panic attack, like, realizing that she's lost so many people and that she doesn't even know if, the throne will actually provide her the happiness and the life that she really wanted, and, just all these different things.
She did such a good job of, like, showing us that she was still like basically a child.
Yeah.
Like, think that acting, like, it was unquestionable to me that you could see how much of just a scared child who was alone. Did you guys? I sent you guys a video where someone put in cut scenes to that some of the battle, and one of them was, somebody talking, or two different people talking about how like she's still just alone. She has no one else. Her brother died. She has no living Targaryens. It was that
Maester Aemon.
Maester Aemon. And like that, I think that line especially really puts into perspective that like I don't think she's mad. I think she's just
scared and alone. Yeah.
And alone. And she has a power that like no one else possesses, and she used it irresponsibly, but like that solidifies the childness.
Yeah, and she didn't. There was so much doubt in her mind, probably, that stopping right there would be the right thing to do. Like, she kind of had to put it in her own hands because she couldn't trust anyone else at this point because she didn't feel like she had anyone else.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I think
do you think she'll be rational next episode though? Like, do you think?
I don't know. I think they're probably setting up for like her just to be like a tragic character because like all Jon knows right now is that he probably thinks that she just snapped and killed everyone, and now you have like Tyrion and probably Sansa and everyone in Jon's backline telling him they're not gonna like ignore the fact that she destroyed King's Landing and killed probably thousands of innocent people. So I think,
it's more than thousands. I think Tyrion said there was 1 million people in the city at the beginning.
But like still, like I think they're setting her up to probably die, like probably by Jon's hand, or I don't know, but I think it'll be interesting to see how they resolute this all.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't see her living through the final episode. Well, basically, if she lives, I don't know how that they could do it in a way that would make the final episode satisfying. Like, oh, she's just queen now. And there's no King's Landing. Done.
Unless she like breaks or decides that, unless she decides that she doesn't want to be queen of Westeros and decides, to get a council and they just break it all up and, you're only king of your own realm. But
that's a possibility. I could also truthfully see her after the battle having a moment of clarity with everyone around her, realizing that she can't stay there. They won't let her stay there, and she basically just takes Drogon and like flies to an island and becomes a hermit.
Flies west of Westeros.
She just goes back to Essos, and I don't know, but man, I really wish that they had 2 more episodes after this. Like, I think more just because I don't want it to end. Like, I think there's a lot.
No, that's a good point. A lot of stuff I've been reading has been about people who are upset at the pacing of this season, of season 7 and 8. They thought that stuff happened so quickly. Like, they had in their mind the type of character Jaime was, and then like we talked about how he was circular, he came back, and that, like, they're like, maybe that's okay, but it took too long. And I heard the perfect thing. It's like, you had so much character buildup, it's time to have some resolution to it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't just apply the thing you want and decide if it's not that, then it's not good, and keep finding ways that it doesn't meet that criteria until, like, you will never be happy doing that. It's like, I also don't want it to end, but I think the way they're gonna do it will be good.
Yeah. I also like to think that George R. R. Martin is kind of beta testing an ending right now, where he just like he had an ending in mind and he wasn't sure if it was the right ending, so he's just waiting to see fans' reactions to it. It's like, maybe
I'm kind of pissed because, like, when the books finally come out, I am gonna want to read the ending that he makes or that he writes, but I don't want to read all of the books.
Yeah, so
he's got a bit of a wordy writing style.
Maybe I could listen to him.
Yeah, the audiobooks are super good. I listen to them when I work out, and like, if you work out 40 hours a week, then no, I'm just kidding. But like
you can finish it in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
By that I mean 3 months.
I was gonna say, like, a book a month is super easy. I mean, that's a long time, but also, like,
how many books are there?
There are currently 5 out right now. There's 2 left. 7 books for 7 Kingdoms.
Maybe I'll just make Tyler read them and then ask him to tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to be offline and drinking. I don't know if that makes me happy or not.
Who's D&D?
Dan and Dave.
That's the writers of
the writers.
movie, or the TV series.
Okay. Yeah, man, they've received a lot of shit. I don't know if it's totally been warranted, but
yeah, I think a lot of the shit could have been mitigated if was 10 episode seasons for the past two, even though it might not have been super necessary and it might have slowed it down a lot. But
yeah, I think they could have. I think with 2 more episodes, if they really wanted the Mad Queen ending or whatever they got with Danny, I think 2 episodes would have been given them more time to like flesh out like the state of mind change. Like one of my biggest complaints with this episode, like
it was episode 1 that started happening of this season.
Yeah, they introduced it, but it was like there was like 3 things. There was Missandei, there was
Jorah.
People celebrating Jon over
literally,
Danny, even though they both rode a dragon, and then there was like Jorah's thing.
When she walked into the town and everyone was scoffing, and then she talked to Sansa, like greeted Sansa, it was all bad, man. Every one of it, and you could watch her like.
But all of that felt like just run-of-the-mill Game of Thrones, like Westeros politics. Like
also, killing Sam's brother and all them was kind of...
Yeah, that was one too. That wasn't a bit of it into the last season. I don't know. It felt like up until the last episode, it felt like, okay, maybe she has something going on in her head. Mm-hmm. Maybe she's a little upset, but it was never like.
But like
it
they
still
have to
felt
do it
very
sometime.
Yeah, it still felt very unexpected.
I mean, that shit that's not a slow burn, Like, it's a tick. It's a switch, and then immediately, like, in real life, in real human beings, that's how that works, too.
Yeah, like, I've had outbursts of just anger that just, like, it doesn't happen over a couple of days. It happens over, a couple of just interactions.
Yeah.
And I think it was just amplified by the fact that she had a huge fucking dragon that can literally destroy the biggest town in that continent. Like that, if she didn't have the dragon, that would have just been like, maybe punching a wall. Like that's kind of the equivalent. But instead she punched many walls with fire.
So my next topic was... Did either of you feel like the fight between Euron and Jaime was like one of the weirdest fights they've ever had?
Yeah, dude. It felt very awkward.
It was so strange.
Like
it felt so weird, and it felt like I was like all of a sudden Euron, and I was like, okay, so he's gonna like steal the rowboat and leave, and then he was like, no, challenging Jaime for some reason.
Yeah.
And then the fight was just like not a good fight.
It was
honestly, I think it's just that they want to give like every main character a big death, or at least some kind of big death, and so they couldn't be happy with just letting Euron die and the ship blowing up. He had to have something else go on, and so they're like, what's a convenient thing we can do? Swim to the shore and have him stab Jaime a couple times.
But also, like the fact that I feel like that battle was just kind of weak. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
Compared to Clegane especially, like that battle was just like.
We'll get to that. Please don't bring it up again though, because.
Oh, sorry.
I can't contain my hype.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, to me, that battle was literally pointless because it didn't. If you take out that battle, literally everything that Jaime and Cersei did would have been exactly the same, and literally it was just a moment for like Euron to like flex his.
It was a timing piece though. Like if Euron didn't fight Jaime, then you wouldn't have had a question in your mind of if Jaime could get to Cersei.
Yeah.
Or where he'll end up with everything.
I disagree with that because we already had the time question based on the fact that he didn't get into the walls, like the inner gates. Like he had to run around and go a different route.
That's a good point.
I don't mind that he fought Euron and the how that all came together. I just thought the fight was weird. Like it just found like they were just like rolling around, slapping each other. Like
Also, it's so satisfying watching Jaime just fucking slap somebody with that golden hand.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
I loved the scene with him and Tyrion when, like, they're like, how did you catch you? And then he just, like, held up the hand. He's like, you didn't think to take that off? Fucking idiot.
That was really great, yeah.
And there's like, They always called me the dumbest Lannister.
I fucked up the timing for this, but my next topic is, it's back on the topic of Dany, but from the perspective of Arya, because during that episode we get a lot of shots of Arya, like we talked about, and Jon, and it looks like both of them, as well as like Sir Davos and other people, both of them come to the same conclusion that like, for sure, don't let Dany be queen.
Yeah.
And you don't really know what they're gonna do about it, but I got a lot of the feeling when Arya was looking up at the dragon and the destruction that she saw Dany as she sees Cersei. Like, she had a vendetta against Cersei for Ned and for... I mean, how much was Cersei involved in the Red Wedding?
I mean, like, all the land... I mean, I think that was more like a Tywin ploy. But
I mean,
still.
so, like, definitely the Lannister family. But she has, like, a family vendetta, but I think she saw, like...
Aw, hell.
The destruction that she was capable of, and it almost felt like that Arya may take it into her own hands, like she did with the Night King.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of got like a different kind of feeling from Arya. Like after her exchange with the Hounds, I felt like she, and like, you know, going back and saving the people and just seeing the destruction, that she's kind of over this like super edgy assassin life in a way. Like I could be totally wrong, and I probably am. But
well, it's not her kill list though. Like,
yeah,
it's like a for the good of the realm thing.
Yeah, no, I mean I know, but like still, yeah.
I don't even know for me what I think like Arya's remaining motivations are. Like for a long time her motivation was her kill list, but like she's not really motivated by family. She's not motivated by like going home or anything like that, 'cause she doesn't really have a home anymore. She was never the character to be motivated by like money either. So really her skills at this point are like, they're not useless, but they have no bearing on any kind of motivation she might have.
Yo, maybe she might just go fuck Gendry and then just decide, I'm just gonna be
Lady of
Storm's End.
Or Storm's End, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that'll happen. That's pretty storybook, but...
Yeah.
I think her motivation could be spun as the same motivation that Varys had, which is like...
For the good of the realm.
She
could become the new Master of Whisperers using her training.
Basically, I mean, it would look a little different, but like she could be sort of the arbiter for. Like,
yeah, or she gets knighted and becomes part of like the King's Guard or something, Queen's Guard.
That'd be kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too.
Well, now that we're still on the topic of Arya, the last thing about her is the horse. And I think the horse was one of the coolest parts of the entire episode.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people thought it was dumb as fuck.
It was just Bran calling an Uber for her.
Bran showed up, his Uber arrived, but the thing I wanted to talk about was how good first of all, the cinematography and the foreshadowing of that horse was, because that little girl and mom she was helping, that little girl held a white horse, and you saw it. And one of the shots, oh my gosh, there's a post on Reddit. It was the shot when she like turned the corner and then she turned around and everyone was just cowering on those stairs, and she's like, "You guys gotta leave." Like they're like, "We'll die out there," and she's like, "You'll die in here too. You gotta run." That shot though, when she turns around, straight up looks like an old like medieval painting. It looks so nice. It's so cool looking, and in the middle, like the focus of the shot is that white horse and that girl. Like that's the color that stands out. Everything else is like pretty similar.
Yeah. So was that on, what subreddit was that on? I want to find
Game
it.
of Thrones.
r/Game of Thrones. Okay.
Yeah. I think it was not a photo. Well, I can't remember. I see so many posts on there that it's hard to follow.
I'm super annoyed by the fact that everything is hidden by spoilers on this subreddit. Oh my god.
Hashtag we kneel.
Yeah, you fucking kneelers.
No, I'm not gonna do that. But no,
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool. I thought the concept of Bran showing up as the horse sort of fits really nicely into my view of what Bran does that I've sort of laid out in all of these episodes.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought they have the valid opinion where they say he's not doing anything, like he's not a part of the story anymore. And like the counter to that is the last Three-Eyed Raven didn't talk to anybody either. Like they just do it.
Yeah, like he wasn't in the midst of everything. Like, you know, Bran's like sole job is to just hold memories. Like that's all he has to do. Like
Memory of man.
He doesn't have any motivation or any wants but I do think, you know, him playing in the background of you know, that scene with Arya and maybe other scenes too was really cool.
Yeah. I like the idea of him being the one that comes and saves Arya. I think that also sort of supports the idea of Arya potentially ending Dany's reign. I think Bran might see that Dany needs to be stopped after this. Like the supporting evidence for that is like everyone's saying that when a Targaryen's born, a coin is flipped. So Bran couldn't know. If that's true, Bran couldn't know which direction Dany would go. He could know that that's like a pivotal moment, but he wouldn't really know what would happen. And so after he sees it, he sees what's necessary to do.
Yeah.
And Arya's like, I'm about to end this woman's whole career.
I'm still a big fan of the theory that that's the photo. The theory that Bran just like wargs into a bunch of like pigeons and pushes himself around.
That's not the photo I was talking about, by the way.
Oh, it wasn't?
It's a different one. No, I'll try to find it later. I think it might have been in a video.
Yeah. Do you guys think the horse from the last episode will like really matter in the next episode, or if it was just like a getaway for Arya in the end of this last episode?
It probably won't matter.
Can you say that again?
This is the photo I was talking about. Can you show this on stream, Tyler?
Yeah.
Like this photo straight up looks like something I've seen in a museum.
Yeah, let me add a source. Display capture.
Clap. It's the photo of like people sitting on the stairs huddled around, but it's like so dark and like musty.
Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, that looks like some Leonardo Scummy thing.
And you see the white horse right in the middle.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Isn't that so cool?
That is super cool.
That's really, really, really good cinematography.
Yeah. That foreshadow. Man, I'm getting chills thinking about that right now.
Yeah.
Wow. Part of me also thought that that also just kind of seemed like part of like a nightmare or some kind of like descent into whatever kind of afterlife in a way.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't think that's what happened at all, but like it definitely gave me that feeling that, you know, she's actually dead and that's just her with the horses in the bag, you know. But yeah, no.
So another thing that I saw, that's sort of on this like similar meta storyline, was that what if in the next episode it just starts with us coming in from white, and then it slowly fades into John's face, and then we zoom away, and his eyes are white, like he was just warged into, and Bran just says, "You have it's your choice now," or like you have a decision to make. You remember that line at like the beginning of this season, where Bran tells John about like it's his choice to he has a choice for what to do. Like Bran can't control it, but he shows John what would happen if he supports Dany and all that.
Yeah. I accidentally clicked on a super gruesome link that someone posted on Reddit, and now I feel sick to my stomach. Oh.
Don't do that.
Yeah, no, someone was just like, yeah, I lived in Bosnia during the war in the 90s, and I mean, it was basically like this. And I mean, this episode summed it up real well, and I clicked on the image, and it was some dude's half blown up body hanging over a rail. It's like, oh, I did not need to see that.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, boys, do you know what time it is?
hit us with it. Man. If the season just ended with Clegane Bowl, like him doing the thing.
Just doing the air horn?
No,
Yeah.
like the tackling the mountain into the pit of fire. I'd have been alright with that. I'd fill in the rest.
That's
It was-
really. He falls into the fire, and then it just cuts to the credits,
Yeah.
and then they announced that there was actually only 5 episodes this season.
Bro, I saw like this fucking photo of, it was a screen capture of when the Hound is standing on the stairs and the mountain's above him, and then they just photoshopped in like Dark Souls health bars and stuff.
That's awesome. But also, before that, I think Qyburn had the best death.
When he just fucking got yeeted into the
He
wall.
got so fucked, and his skull just like he
I
got.
loved that. That was so great. That was like one of the deaths that I didn't think about happening, but it's like pretty obvious it would. And it was so great that it was from his own creation, and it was also so great that there was no warning. It was just all of a sudden, boom, dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obey your queen, Sir Gregor. That's all it was.
Oh my god.
And then also just
And then Cersei's like, we gotta go.
Yeah, you know that meme with the little Muppet looking with his eyes?
Cersei.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It
That
was
was
Like
literally
looking to the
that.
side and looking forward.
Yeah. Someone photoshopped Cersei's hairdo on top of that and be like, Cersei when the Clegane Bowl begins.
Yeah. Also,
I thought that fight was really good. It was
I thought so,
well
too.
choreographed. And I sort of wondered if there's another way to kill the mountain besides fire.
yeah, I don't know. I couldn't get over just how strong the Hound was.
Yeah.
He put that through 2 sheets of that armor and a whole thick boy, like his sword, like
Yeah,
that.
dude.
That was nuts.
There's a reason why the Hound was, for a long time, considered the best swordsman in the realm until Brienne bested him.
Yeah.
And it was because of that strength and
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Yeah.
I think, does the Hound have a Valyrian sword?
I don't think so.
Okay. I wonder if a Valyrian sword could have killed the mountain.
I mean, he is
that-
undead, but
I know, but we don't really know how Qyburn did it. So I wonder if he somehow sort of tapped into that same source of magic to raise him.
yeah. Yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't know.
That would be an interesting thought.
If
I mean-
that is the case, then there could also be an argument to say that the mountain actually lived through falling through dragonfire because the White Walkers were immune to dragonfire as well.
I mean, but
But I
the
guess-
whites weren't. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I was about to say the
so.
whites weren't. There's not a lot of hard. The thing with magic is you can have like in world building you can have like soft magic or hard magic where like rules
Flaccid
are
magic
pretty.
and
Yeah.
Well,
erect
basically,
magic.
it's how flexible or stiff your rules are within your system, and I feel like in Game of Thrones, it's very much a soft magic world where they can just add new stuff, kind of hand wavy, and be like, yeah, that's just the way our magic is.
Yeah. I thought the whole, like, just the fire in the background, there was a scene with a dragon flying across them as they were fighting. Man,
Yeah.
that whole scene was, it was probably my favorite episode in the scene, besides maybe the ending with Arya and the horse.
I'm kind of the Hound died in the process too.
You're kind
Like,
of
I
what?
think
You
it's
cut out a little bit on my
Kind of died in the process.
You're kind of a, what about him dying in the process?
I'm glad that he died.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
process.
yeah.
I think without that, I think if he didn't die, it would have been weird.
Yeah, it kind of showed that, you know, the only thing, like, he cares more about killing, you know, his brother than his own, like, fear of death and also fire.
Yeah. It's also cool that he killed his brother with fire.
Yeah,
The same thing that caused so much trauma for him.
yeah.
Another good callback. I think a lot of these are like, it would have been pretty easy to predict the cause, but it's hard to predict when or like how it happens. Like predicting that like the mountain would die with fire caused by the Hound would be like not that outlandish if you were to say that a while ago, but you have no idea if it's like if he throws a bomb at him or what.
Yeah, and, like, I mean, it was, he died by fire by his own choice, which I thought was,
Wait, so the green fire, was that Cersei also blowing up King's Landing?
yeah, that
That
was
was
the wildfire.
Was that just like remnants of what she like hid around the capital, or was that like on purpose?
I like to think that Qyburn planted that as like a secondary measure, and then when Dany just blew shit up, it also blew all that up.
Oh.
Unless Qyburn had like secondary motives of, you know, sabotaging Cersei.
I heard a lot of it that it was not so much secondary motives, but it was supposed to make Dany look more like a tyrant because all the wildfire was placed outside of like the Red Keep walls, I'm pretty sure. And so it was supposed to be like, even if they tried to minimize damage, they could make it look like
Yeah.
Dany actually did a lot more damage. So they could make the people still support Cersei.
That's
Yeah.
actually a really good point. I
Yeah.
think that's likely to be what it was.
I agree. So, yeah, I don't think there was really any secondary motives by Qyburn, and if they were, it doesn't matter because his skull is a
His
pile
body-
of jello.
His
the
soul
Lord
was
Edith.
eaten out of King Landing.
It was also so funny because you can see like parts of his legs still like sticking up during the fight, like during Clegane Bowl. You can still see his like fucking corpse just hanging around.
Dude, you know,
Imagine filming that. Like, that was probably like a couple hour long filming sesh. Like, just imagine just Qyburn laying there, like the actor laying there the entire time. Like, can I get a water or something?
I bet that, yeah.
there's an extra who does it, but
Yeah.
when you just said like watching Clegane Bowl, in my own body, I felt amazing. I was like, it finally happened.
Yeah, dude.
It's been, what was it, like season 5 that video came out? That
What?
like the Clegane Bowl like 420 hype video. Did you ever
Oh,
see that?
yeah.
Yeah.
I just the whole build up to that, like, you know, between, you know, the Hound being presumed dead for a while and then coming back, and then, man, and then, you know, the mountain dying and then coming back, and dude, you could see like even, you know, when the Hound showed up, like you can see like the mountain like actually showing emotion, like this zombie man showing emotion.
Yeah, dude.
That was
And
nuts.
he stopped obeying. That was so cool that like he stopped obeying. He was like, "No, this is all that I've like let you reanimate me for."
Yeah, this is like my reason for not living right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, that was so good. I love that episode. That was probably one of my favorite episodes this season.
Yeah, this and episode 2 I think were my favorites, but that's just because of Tormund made episode 2 for me.
Giant's milk. Do you? My brain. So I love how like the collective like fan base just came up with the idea to call this battle the Clegane Bowl, though. Like you could ask anyone and be like, "Oh yeah, Clegane Bowl. That happened last episode." But like, it's not anywhere in the lore. It's not anything that the creators of the show themselves were like, "Yeah, this is what we're calling this." It's literally just some guy was like, "Yeah, let's call it that," and everyone's like, "That's a very good name." Yes.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
So in the books, like the Hound is still basically dead. So I like to think, I know this probably isn't how it went down, but I like to think that the creators realized the hype around Clegane Bowl and then rewrote the Hound in. But I don't think that's the case because, you know, they intentionally left his death very vague.
Yeah.
Just like Arya stealing his money and eating.
Well, boys, that's all that I have on my list.
Yeah.
Before we actually, I had one final closing thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a meeting. But
Yeah, so meeting.
I hate you guys so much. What are you guys' predictions for the next episode? Like, what do you think they're gonna do with it? I want to get this on formal record.
I think that they're going to confront Dany. There will be a trial, sort of like in Winterfell for her, or nearby, and then there'll be everyone basically like, yeah, you can't rule, and then she'll be like, who's gonna stop me? And somehow she dies.
Yeah, probably.
And then after that, they're gonna be like, we did it.
Yeah, then I think, you know.
And then I think they're gonna split the realm. I think when you said that earlier, Ashley, I've thought about that a lot. I do think they're gonna split the realm. Especially
I said
after
that.
After they just destroyed the capital city.
Yeah.
It seems kind of likely.
Yeah.
And to break our balls even more, I just got a file error saying Audacity failed to write to a file. Perhaps C is not writable or the disk is full. So.
Very cool.
Very cool, Kanye. Anyway.
Well, let's on that really terrible disappointment, we'll end it Top Gear style. Or Grand Tour style. I mean,